How are you doing? Welcome to the Daily Antidote of Song. My name is Hubby Jenkins, coming to you from my house in Queens, New York. Let's say hello to everybody on Facebook Live. We can't see you, but we feel you, and you're glad you're around. And now for the hardest part of the gig. Hello, Katie. Hello, Hubby Jenkins. Hello, Anna. Hello, Tim. Hello, Cliff in Vermont. Hello, Luna in Victoria. Hey, Peter in Maryland and Susan. Hey, Mabel. Hey, Deborah in Kentucky. Hey, Ruth in Birmingham. Hey, Amanda and Miles in Michigan. Hello, Storm. Hey, Carolyn in Goldwyn. Hey, Brian. Hey, Mac. Hey, Deli. Hey, Ann in Nashville. Hey, Christina. Hey, Kathleen in Albuquerque. Hey, Kate in Charlottesville. Hey, Nancy. Steve and Michelle in Silver Springs. How you doing? Hey, Ralph and Penny in Victoria. Susan in Seattle. Great to see ya. Brian, I did that one. The screens are changing on me so fast. Here we go. Hey, Jamie in Victoria. How you doing? Jim in NYC, my neighbor, Jane in Texas. Annette, how you feeling? Judy, how you doing? Rowan in Victoria, how you doing? Karen, Sherry, Kate, how you doing? Sarah, hello. Bonnie, hello. Joni, Carol, Jane, Connecticut. Janine, how you doing? LMG, how you doing? Hoda in BC, how you doing? Leanna, how's it going? Did I do it? I think I did it. Wowza. Well, hello, everyone. Did I miss anybody? Jane in Texas, just in case I missed you. But anyway, welcome everyone. Daily Antidote of Song. Hope you're feeling well today. We've got Tim Eriksen coming on to sing with us, and I'm very excited. I know for me, it's been, I don't know, you've been seeing my face more regularly. For me, it was like every couple of months Antidote of Song, and then it became like once a month Antidote of Song, and now I'm getting pretty close to being a daily Antidote of Songer with you. I don't know, Tim has been here for a long time, coming since the early days of the Daily Antidote. So I guess let's give it over to him and, jump into your song. Any parts that we should know about, we want to jump into and sing along with, you could make that clear, and I'll pass the mic to you.
All pretty singable. You got the words there, and I'll play it for you once or twice. And you can hopefully see how the structure goes. It's got these kind of refrains in each verse and then the chorus each time. What is this ship that will take us all home? Oh, glory, hallelujah. And safely land us on Canaan's bright shore. It's the old ship of Zion, hallelujah, hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion, hallelujah. So if nothing else, you can jump in on the chorus. It's the old ship of Zion, hallelujah, hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion, hallelujah. Okay, I'll take it from the top again. This is one of the songs in the shape note repertoire there. Two versions of it in the sacred harp, if there's any sacred harp singers out there, but it shows up all over the place and was miscategorized by folklorists in the early to mid 20th century as white spirituals. Maybe not miscategorized, but leaving out the rather important detail that comes from black tradition and the camp meetings of the Second Great Awakening, which were pretty commonly comprised of a very diverse group of people. Anyway, I'll start from the top again. What ship is this that will take us all home? Oh, glory, hallelujah. And safely land us on Canaan's bright shore. Oh, glory, hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah, hallelujah, it's the old ship of Zion, is well able to land us all home. Glory, hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah, hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. All who board her will land on that bright eternal shore. Oh, glory, hallelujah. And there they will shout that their suffering is o'er. Oh, glory, hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. She has landed many thousands and will land as many more. Oh, glory, hallelujah. She'll land them all safe on Jordan's shore. Oh, glory, hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. Oh, if I get there before you do. Oh, glory, hallelujah. I'll tell them all that you're coming up to. Oh, glory, hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. Come on, my sisters, won't you go along with me? Oh, glory, hallelujah. Where we'll shout and we'll sing the jubilee. Oh, glory, hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. Let's do another couple of rounds. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah.
Oh, fantastic.
You get the idea. You could keep spinning out verses in verses of other songs or improvised or whatever. Kind of carry it on all night if you want.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty I find in a lot of old gospel spiritual songs. It's like it's made to get hypnotic and you get into the zone and you could sing one song for hours. You could feel it even happening through the Zoom, how you could sing that for an hour straight, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and that's one of the kind of things that some people, Eileen Southern from Harvard University, talked about as Africanisms within the broader American culture. These opportunities for improvisational singing and call and response, and also the experiential, just that songs that really draw you in. That she writes about it as being the way that some of the at least in New England, pretty much most of what I say is kind of from a New England perspective, but especially Africans who weren't English wasn't a first language, or maybe even didn't speak English at all, an opportunity or a part of religious worship that could be participated in, the kind of the sonic and the kind of experiential, even if they weren't so aware of all this, the complex theology that these preachers were talking about. And then also the one further thing being the all night singings. They sometimes there are historical records of. There's one that a great account I love of. I think it was a Swedish woman, if I'm not mistaken, who was visiting the United States and went to one of these camp meetings, these great outdoor, huge revival meetings in the early 19th century. And she said that we stopped singing at midnight, but the Africans kept singing until dawn. That's a direct quote. So ethnomusicologists like to talk about how we have eyelids, but we don't have earlids. It's very hard to keep out the sounds of our environment and our culture and the people around us. So I think this song is a cool or interesting evidence of people being in a shared space, that even if there was far from any kind of equality, there was at least co-presence and sonic. They were sort of part of the same, swimming in the same music, I guess.
Yeah. And I would also say, I think that it's something I talk a lot about when I play gospel and spiritual music is, the things that Africans or African Americans would get from a song like this. Old Ship of Zion, there's another shore, there's another place. Like, I mean, the symbolism is very blatant in a song like this of there's another place where we will be safe. It's back home. And maybe it's the afterlife, but it's also the symbolic escape, if that makes sense. Can you tell us a little bit about the roots of this song and maybe where you got it from and something like that?
Well, I sing it. We sing it in the Sacred Harp. There are two versions. There's the Old Ship of Zion, and there's I think it's the Ship of Zion. Anyway, but it's one of these ones that there's zillions of versions of floating around. We don't, as far as I know, nobody knows the origins beyond. It most likely came out of these camp meetings of the early 19th century, but it's the first imprints of it that I've seen of it are from the 1840s. Excuse me, and they're really up and down the eastern seaboard and even up into Canada. So this I know it both from the Sacred Harp, and from this book, The American Vocalist, which was a Maine tune book from 1848. But it was also, and these are things where people, wherever they got it, they heard somebody singing it. There's the one example that I know of in particular, a white singer getting it directly from black neighbors is there's an account in upstate New York. I think it's folk songs of New York State or something like that. Anyway, there's a guy who talked about hearing it like hanging around the African Methodist Episcopal Church when they had a big conference and hearing that song, and years later in the 1940s or whatever, still it being part of his musical repertoire. So a couple of sources.
Let's throw up that image of the. I think this image is from that 1848 book, right?
That's right. Yeah. Sorry, it's not bigger, but this is a page from The American Vocalist by a guy named Daniel Mansfield, who was from Hope, Maine, and he had pretty big ears. He included a lot of different stuff that was being excluded from the sort of more mainline hymnals. He was a Methodist preacher. So you can see on this one page here, the Old Ship of Zion. You can see it's a little different words, a little different structure, but it's clearly from the same, it's part of the same song family. And then below that, The Gospel is Lovely, which is a Shaker song. So his other neighbors were Shakers, and he, I guess, just seemingly because he just liked good songs, he included anything that he thought people would want to sing.
That's great. And it's also great to see like this whole, I don't know, back and forth, because I know that the Great Awakenings were also these what's it called, like mixed hangs, like black and white were there, but there was also a lot of conflict. Like you mentioned the AME, that was kind of a split off when they couldn't, hold, I don't know what they called, political office in the Methodists. They had to split off and start their own thing, but they're still sharing the same music and obviously the same religion and ideals. And so it becomes this back and forth. And by the Third Awakening, it's a whole back together, blah, blah, blah.
It's amazingly complex and fascinating. I wanted to share an image of a man named Perry Davis, who is a song leader that I've done some historical digging, and I want to do more because he's just a really interesting person. He was very involved in the suffrage movement and the abolition movement in New England. He was from Hartford, but he traveled up and down the river. And at the height of the Civil War in 1862 and 3, he was leading concerts of about 30 or 40 singers from his community. So they're all black singers, variously defined people, people of African, Native American, and European ancestry. But it was kind of a sensation that they were performing in these big opera houses. And what they were doing was very explicitly not sort of camp meeting music, but the 18th century New England music of William Billings, the so-called father of New England music. And so that sort of speaks to what you're saying about the churches splitting off. He was involved. There were two churches in Hartford that, because the black members of the Congregational Church, the Center Congregational Church in Hartford, were looking for agency and just a place where they could have a voice in how things were run, and they split off, and there was one of the offshoots was this African Methodist Episcopal Church. Another was a Congregational Church, but the churches were connected through this community, this rather smallish. I think there were about 500 African Americans in Hartford at that time. Not a huge lot, but it's still a substantial community. But up to the time that they started their the black churches, the Congregational and the AME Church, they had worshipped with at the Center Congregational Church with their white neighbors, and so the music that the older people in that community knew, at least from church, was a lot of this 18th century music, William Billings and this kind of thing that is not associated typically or really at all with people of African descent or native descent. But it was just the music that they knew as kids from church. So what Perry Davis did was he was participating in a tradition in which people dressed up as in colonial outfits and sang the music of late 18th century New England, William Billings and Daniel Reed and others that are well represented in the Sacred Harp tradition. And on the surface of it, the article that I wrote that we'll share with you all tomorrow is about this, among other things. It's a little bit convoluted. It's about these black singers in the 1860s singing the late 18th century New England music, but it's also about that connection to the development of science fiction. It's kind of a little bit on another topic. But anyway, excuse me, he was...
I'm very curious. Can you do that in a nutshell? Like, what's the connection to sci-fi in a nutshell, or is it the whole paper?
Well, this is my take on it anyway, is that
sure.
These so-called old folks concerts, they started out as started out in New Haven in the 1850s, and they spread, and more people from more and more backgrounds. They started out as a hardcore sort of congregationalist, white congregationalist thing, and then more people started doing them. And it was in the context of the Civil War. It was kind of a celebration of the Union and New England, history and culture. And my take on Perry Davis and his community singing this stuff was, number one, it was nostalgic for them and something that they genuinely knew and loved because they'd grown up with it. But it was also saying, oh, hello, we're also Yankees, we're also here. And a number of the people that he sang with, their ancestors had literally, taken the place. They'd gone to war and they'd gone to fight in the Revolutionary War, taking the place of white people. There was, there's this thing whereby you could emancipate yourself by going to fight in the place of some white New Englander. So there were at least two of the people in his community there for whom that was the case. So for them, wearing the continental outfits, it wasn't like abstract. And in the context of the Civil War, to me anyway, it seemed like a really powerful statement of, hello, this is us. This is our music too. We're here. And it in a very, I don't want to say it wasn't indirect. It was very direct, but it wasn't spoken. It wasn't saying, these weren't overtly political events. They were more about celebrating this kind of music. But I don't think anybody who attended them could have mistaken, could have taken it as some kind of a joke that they're dressing up like George and Martha Washington. I mean, it was really saying, like, to my understanding, we're a part of this, and my grandfather, my literal grandfather, fought and bled for the creation of this union. So,
Yeah. And for sure, and you have stuff like the Fisk Jubilee singers who are like singing these songs and traveling around the world, and singing I don't know if it's shape note singing style, but in a more, what's what I'm looking for, classic style that is also supposed to show that, you know, we have that in us as a culture. Like black people aren't just minstrel music and blues, but we can also do this kind of music as well. And so it's not, like you say, political. It's still a celebration of the music, but it is part of that statement of this is our music too, but we are equal in this way or capable in this way as well.
that's that's a great point. Yeah, that it was a little, that it was kind of like a pre Jubilee song style of singing the music from these white composers, but that were part of the culture of these black churches, which is, because for me, because I'm just interested in the music and the sacred harp and shape note music, that was my way in. So my initial interest was really just through the music, and I suspected that might have been part of maybe even what they were doing. It was like, hey, here's some music that, I mean, they were playing for like 1,200 people, considering that there were 500 people of African descent in Hartford at the time. There's a lot of white people in those audiences. So I think that there's something about the drawing power of this music, the commonality in the music, that, and also that thing that you're saying about the Fisk singers and others that just claiming agency and just like humanity and just like, hello, we're,
Exactly. Yeah.
we're here.
And like we were talking about earlier, just the shared culture, like no one lives in a bubble. These people are all around each other. We have the same religion. We're going to sing the same songs, blah, blah, blah. I think it's almost time to start singing our song again. So for people who missed it or who didn't know it until the end of the last time, now you're going to know it from the beginning this time. I did see a question where people were asking about your jacket. So could you give us a little info about this jacket?
It's a cashmere embroidery. It's just my version of dressing up for the internet.
And it looks wonderful. People, now you know. This is what you should be wearing when you're on the internet. But yeah, I think if you have any last parting words, go for it. And then when you're ready, let's sing this song again.
Okay.
And I guess I'll mention there's some links up in the chat. Maybe you could talk about what those links are and what projects you got coming up and what you're working on, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You want me to do that now or after we sing? Or
Whatever. You surprise me.
Okay. Oh, well, so the links, in case you're interested, so I'm kind of all over the place here with the shape note music and the abolition music. Of course, there's crossover, but so the links are, there's nothing yet really of substance yet, but there's a project put together by a guy named Matt Callahan in Switzerland that I've been a part of, which is kind of exploring the links between shape note music and abolition and other things that might be described as the lost soundtrack of the 19th century abolition movement. And so it's a multimedia thing. There's an actual CD. I don't know if they're doing any vinyl coming out on Jalopy Records or whatever they call it. And there's a book. University Press of Mississippi is putting out a book of stuff. And then there's a little documentary, and we're launching it at Berea College in September in collaboration. It's collaboration between some sort of shape note singers and the Black Music Ensemble at Berea, and just kind of playing and singing some of these songs. So that's what the links are, and I think we might well do this song at that point. Anyway, here we go. Here we go. What ship is this that will take us all home? Glory, hallelujah, and safely land us on Canaan's bright shore. Glory, hallelujah, it's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah, hallelujah, it's the old ship It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. She's landed many thousands and will land as many more. Oh, glory. Hallelujah. She'll land them all safe on Jordan shore. Oh, glory. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. Oh, if I ride there before you do. Oh, glory. Hallelujah. I'll tell them all that you're coming up to. Oh, glory. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah. Come along, my sisters, don't go along with me. Oh, glory. Hallelujah. Shout and we'll sing. It's the Jubilee. Oh, glory. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. 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 Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It's the old ship of Zion. Hallelujah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Oh, that was great. That song, that's the way. I'm starting my day officially right now. Yeah.
Cool. Well, Hubby, it's lovely to meet you, and Katie and all the others here. Really nice to see everybody.
Yeah,
Look
ditto.
forward to other times.
Yeah, and to doing it in person and all that kind of IRL
Yes.
realness.
Out in the world.
Yeah.
I see there's a lot of it out there.
Yeah, it's still, and I hear it's warmer.
There.
It's getting warmer up there too. Anyway, thanks again, Tim. I guess now it's time for our goodbyes. I'll try to do it slower, but the New Yorker in me is swift, everybody. Swift. All right? So first we'll say goodbye to all of our Facebook Live people. We love you. Peace, blessings. Thanks for coming out.